So we have some breaking news. As per CNN's Manu Raju, Mitt Romney has not voted for Donald Trump in this presidential election. He's cast his ballot, and it wasn't for Trump. Now, I'm going to read you out this tweet. We're going to break this down a little bit. He says, Mitt Romney told me he already voted in the elections, but wouldn't say if he voted for Joe Biden or wrote someone else in. Quote, I did not vote for President Trump, end quote, he said. So that's a Republican senator and the Republican nominee from 2012, former Republican governor out east, basically saying he didn't vote for the Republican nominee this time around. Now, he didn't say, did he vote for Biden? Did he vote third party? Did he write someone in? Did he spoil his presidential ballot? All we know is it wasn't for Trump. And I want to get out in front of this because I don't want people to praise Mitt Romney and to start praising every single Republican that either directly or indirectly stood against Trump in this moment. Because more often than not, even the ones that are supposedly rebelling against Trump are largely complicit in what Trump's done, or their actions over the last generation helped make Trump possible, and all they're trying to do is stall progressive energy after this election by trying to make it look like they were on the right side all along and try to worm their way into the Democratic administration. Remember, Mitt Romney, supports Amy Coney Barrett. Mitt Romney still votes with Trump more often than not. Sort of like Ben Sasse. They say they stand up to Trump, and on a lot of personal issues, on a lot of philosophical issues beyond politics, about how you act, how you talk, do you use profanity, are you seen as a good and virtuous person, they might differ, but on the hard, cold economic philosophy of Republican selfishness and of corporate selfishness that is bipartisan, they are clearly with Donald Trump, 100%. And the reason they oppose Trump isn't because there's a fundamental ideological disagreement, like, let's say, between Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump, but rather they essentially feel that Trump is making it hard to do what Republicans want to do, that he's embarrassing the Republican Party with his boorishness, and that his lack of patience and eloquence and tact is making it harder to actually do the things Republicans want to do. When they want to cut healthcare, cut taxes, make it harder for marginalized people, Donald Trump being so open about it and so ham-fisted makes people react against him, which hurts the Republican Party. And so basically, what Romney and Ben Sasse and a lot of the never-Trump Republicans, including a lot of the Lincoln Project people, are saying, in essence, they might not be saying it out loud, but what they're saying in the subtext is, we want to do the evil of Trump, but we don't want people to see it as the evil of Trump. Now, there are slight differences, of course. I don't suspect that, Mitt Romney, if he was president, would do everything the same as Donald Trump, but the broad ideological goals of the Trump Republican Party would still be the broad ideological goals of the Romney Republican Party, more or less. And you can see this happening. A lot of these people know the Trump train is going off the rails, the Trump ship is sinking, and because of that, they want some relevance after this. Now, some of them hope maybe they can take over the Republican Party and rebuild it, and they need to make people think that, okay, after Trump, there's going to be a reasonable successor, and some others, because Biden has shown, which I think is stupid, a willingness to work Republicans into his cabinet, they're trying to signal individually or collectively that we can be good bipartisan cabinet appointments for Joe Biden. I just think people need to slow their roll. A lot of mainstream Dems just love it when Republicans do this. And I get why this is newsworthy, but they need to realize that, if you want to get things done, even the moderate milquetoast promises of Joe Biden, having Republicans infect your regime is not going to work. They're going to sabotage it 100%. And showing that you're willing to be bipartisan and cordial and all that, it won't work. Biden and Obama did try to be bipartisan. Like, they tried to give a good faith effort at working with Republicans. They tried too hard to work with Republicans. And did Republicans, respond with kindness and, cordiality themselves? No. They continued to be awful politically, economically, socially, and that paved the way for Donald Trump, and it paved the way for what we're seeing in the United States right now. That was all before Trump was the nominee or even running for president. And that happened. Mitch McConnell was doing all of this before Trump, and he would have done it without Trump. This would be happening if Clinton was president. The Republican Party is not your friend, even when they're opposing somebody you hate even more than them. And that's something people need to remember. I get it. Mitt Romney would generally vote for a Republican president. So this is one less vote for the Republican, bringing Joe Biden one vote closer, although he's from Utah, which is probably going to vote Republican anyway. Even if his vote goes to Biden, that's a 2-vote swing, but likely irrelevant in a red state. Guys, do not fall for it. If you make it look like the Republican Party is reasonable just because a few of them stood up to Trump, people are going to forget what happened. They're going to go back to their goddamn brunches, and we're going to have Tom Cotton or Ivanka as president in 2024, and no one wants that.